something she could hang her hat on. It was just a matter of time before I was found out. The apple may not have fallen far from the tree, but I was certainly no lawyer. A name, I had to give her a name, or the jig was up, something she could hang her hat on. It's Vice, Vice, baby. It's Vice, Vice, baby.
I guess I have to unmute myself before I talk. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Saturday. It's finally Saturday here. Happy you guys are all here with me. Soul, good morning. Why did the notification go off for a different now deleted stream? Because I messed up. That's why. Because I made. Well, okay, so when I set up the stream, it when I first hit schedule streaming, there was an error that popped up. So I cleared the error and then I remade I hit the schedule stream button again, and I guess that made 2 streams and I didn't know that. So if this one doesn't send out a what's it called? If this one doesn't send out a notification, then oops, oh well. And Denise, bump your volume, please. Good morning, and hopefully this works. Hopefully this is a good enough volume for you. If not, I will more than happy to bump it up even more. It's better? Okay, awesome. But yeah, so today, I had everything set up, but of course, as soon as I hit record, everything messes up. So, hopefully you guys are having a good morning while I find the stuff. Playlist and Maritime Monday. And We are at episode 15, which is the SS Eastland. So let me move some stuff around. Screens and camera. You go down here, and you go up here. Ba 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 ba. Hello, Mary Jane. Welcome, welcome. In begin, subtitles, and switch. Sweet. So, well, you guys know the drill. I will. Happy Saturday, missed a couple of the Saturday meetups. No problem, Becky, no problem. Yeah, I just been doing the Maritime Monday stuff on Saturdays. I haven't actually done like an actual Saturday catch up that I used to do. I'll probably start doing that after we finish the Maritime Monday playlist. Denise, do you know as much as most of us hearing these ship stories? Yeah, so this is my first time watching them. I do zero research. I do not pre-watch it. This is my very, very first time watching it. Every single time. If if this playlist has the duck boat on them, then I've seen two of them. But the other 78 videos, yeah, it's my first time watching it. Melly, so I fell asleep at 8 p.m. yesterday and missed FNL. How dare you? How frickin' dare you? You missed Roseman. You missed The Ranch on FNL. How dare you, Melly? But I'm glad you got some sleep. But hey, hello, Roseman. How are you doing? You could rename Maritime Mondays to Maritime Mornings, just a thought. Yeah, well, maybe. I'll probably do those when I do stream these in the morning because I do I don't have a set streaming schedule because 3D life happens, yada yada yada. So it's not guaranteed that I'm gonna do these in the mornings. But good idea for sure. Not proud of myself. It's okay. Nothing to see. Shit. Yeah. In the backstage, I was telling Expert that this was probably one of my favorite um Mar- Maritime Monday, one of my favorite FNLs. Hello, brokenhearted. Hello, everyone. Made it through another night of storm and tornado watches. I'm so glad you're safe. Hopefully, your property isn't damaged. I hope your family members are okay. I hope you're okay. But I'm glad you're here, brokenhearted. Thanks for being here. But before you start, I have some tea with me in this cup that I've never seen. But oh no, there's tornado. Oh yeah, so yesterday Kentucky got hit pretty bad, and I think Oklahoma will is going to be on watch today. But yeah, so today's tea is Iroh's Legacy. It's just a regular jasmine green tea from the Dragon's Den. So that's what I'm drinking. And I'll also continue making the woobles, crocheting. So, with that out of the way, But I hope everyone in the Oklahoma, northern Texas, Kentucky area. Yeah, I hope you guys are staying safe. We're on watch this afternoon. Meteorologist MG Law told me so. Yep. Gotta believe what the resident meteorologist says. So, with that, uh, my mind blanked. Yeah. Well, you guys know the drill. I'll be muting myself while the video plays. I will unmute myself to welcome and say goodbye to people as they come and go. And I'll also pause the video to put in my own comment whenever I feel necessary. But yeah, I'll also be playing on my phone. No, I'm not distracted. It's just the instructions are on my phone. Which, speaking of, I need to pull that up too. Alrighty, Mary Jane. But I will pull that up. Sweet. Okay. This is episode 15 in the playlist. Episode 18 that, no, episode 17 that we watched of Maritime Monday. This is titled the SS Eastland. And in parentheses, it says stand up for Ask a Mortician. Don't know what happened to Ask a Mortician, but we will stand up for Ask a Mortician. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we shall continue with our Maritime Monday journey. And I should probably unmute the desktop audio before I start the actual stream, right? There you go. It is unmuted. If your dad copyright strikes him, I'm coming for him when we meet again. Yeah, I'll go with you. And hello, Amy. And Lefty. How are you doing, sir? And yes, I'm a boomer. I know, I know.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's me, Legal Vices. What are you guys up to wherever it is you're doing it at? It is now 9:02 p.m. here in dark and crisp and clean and cool South Korea. Weather's getting a little bit cold, but we're doing okay. We're still. Today is good enough that I am not in the pants of prison, the prison of pants. We're we're still doing good and short sleeves. How are we today? Seriously though, it's been a while. Friday and Saturday was spent with Andrew. Legal mindset, drinking a lot. That's kind of what we were doing the entire weekend. I did put together a little bit of a video clip of that, and I'll be uploading that probably around Wednesday or Friday of this week. It'll make its debut. But the last time we were here was Thursday with the O.J. Simpson trial, which was cut really, 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 really short because of an early court day with the Brooks trial.
Amy Evans. Haven't been here lately. Did the Wooble get finished? No, it has not. Yeah, so it says complete time 3 to 8 hours, and it's been like what? How many episodes of this? So it's been over 12 hours, and I. I think I'm almost done with like the actual body part. The older streams in the green room, I remember being in that when Vices had his first live with over 200 viewers. It was a big deal. It's always a big deal to have views. Progress, yep, slowly making progress.
And me having to take care of that. That was kind of a rough show. Not much light was shed. I apologize for that. It was just there was a lot of stuff. There was a monetization issue with YouTube going on that started like 2 minutes after I started the show. So I was doing that and panicking at the same time. It probably came across like that, but we're doing good. Uh, we are ready to go. What do we got coming up today? We have a very, very, very special Maritime Monday, and then at 10:30 p.m. my time, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, which would be 2:30 London time. I am going to dump us all over into my Daryl Brooks stream. And I'll be going there as long as I can. Legal Mindset was supposed to have joined me, but he has a bit of a sore throat or something. His says his voice is shot, and he's got to take it easy. But they'll be on his Pimpcast show in the morning, my time, the evening, your time. So we'll be together. I'll just kind of see if there's anybody else that wants to join me for the stream to keep me company. Now, with that said, we got a lot to get to, and in a short time to do it in. So we all know the drill. Like, half of you haven't done your job. As always, it's always exactly half that don't hit that like button. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We are doing fantastic. We've got 28,147 subscribers, inching our way towards that 3,000 mark. That's the next goal. That'd be fun if we could do. The last Effort Friday was my 25,000 stream. It'd be nice if this Effort Friday was my 30,000 stream. Flux kicking us off with the never required, but always gratefully accepted super chats. Always happy to start my week with a big cup of Jeff. Hashtag pants are a prison. Yes, they are. And it wouldn't be a Monday without a Flux. Uh, all right, so that's the deal. Super chats, they're there if you want to make sure I get your questions. If you make sure I want to read your chat, if you want to show your support, that's there. Not required. There's no minimum. I'll try to read the chats as much as we can, but that's the surefire way to get noticed. And that's about all I'm going to say for that now. You all know the rules. You know, like, subscribe, notify. We have our membership you can join and merch. At the top of my main page, there should be a little shop thing. If you click on that, it should in theory take you to the merch page. We've got a coffee mug. How lame is that? It's lame, but it's merch. It says Legal Vices on one side of the coffee cup, and on the back side of the coffee cup, it says this is a cocktail glass. That's it. Just putting that out there for you. We might.
The best episode was, funniest Maritime Monday was when Danny Joe joined drunk and the cannibalism happened. I've seen clips of those, but I'm sure that episode is coming soon. Gonna attempt make parasol. If it works, it'll be so cool. Well, hey, you're the skillful one, not me, so I'm sure it will work.
Some more merch depending on what happens with this. It was just done for the hell of it. All right, that's it. On with the show. What we've got here is we have an incident. We have an issue to deal with. As you know, it's not only limited to LawTube. YouTube is going after everybody for the smallest thing, and it's usually, I don't know if I shouldn't say usually wrong, but in the circle that I operate in, seems like all of these YouTube punishments, demonetizations, the bannings, the deplatforming, it's unjust and it's unfair because the people we run with and the people that I'm sure you run with aren't the ones that are out there violating the rules. And I was stunned the other day. As you know, I promised we would talk more cannibalism today and use Ask a Mortician's Moby Dick video to do that with. But while I was just getting the early stages of the preparation ready, and I saw that she uploaded this video on the SS Eastland a little over a week ago. And when I checked back, I saw that she had uploaded a video talking about how her video had violated the community standards and provided no educational value or intent. I mean, that
So, it's kind of tragic that Flux isn't here because this is the birth of Mocha Dick, as she says it. So she is kind of missing out. I don't know. And Tamra, haven't seen you in a while. Good morning. To be fair, I didn't really stream this in a hot minute, but yeah, good to see ya.
That's what her entire channel is education and making educating people on historical events, educating people on death and what it can mean for you. I mean, it's just stunning that this happened to her, and it happened to.
Yeah, so the origin of Moby Dick comes from um an actual whale, Mocha Dick. So that's where Flux gets her Mocha Dick Poon stuff, and that's why she's so obsessed with it. So yeah, I don't know about the Murdoch trial. So I don't know. Maybe it is as well, but I know for sure it's from this video because last Maritime Monday episode she told me.
To this particular video that she took huge amounts of pride in and spent months and months preparing this video. So luckily it had something to do with maritime stuff in that it involved the ship, the SS Eastland. So I decided to bump the Moby Dick thing back to next week. And to do her a solid, I mean, she has zero knowledge of my existence. And I don't expect that'll ever change. She's got like 2 million subscribers. What do I got? I got you guys. And that's enough for me. But it ain't got the power of 2 million people behind it. So she's never going to know who I am. But it would be super cool if I could get her on the stream. So if anybody has any, connections, let me know. I just wanted to do a solid for her and the community and stand up for this. Not only the maritime stuff, but the education that's there and these unjust punishments that YouTube is handing out, seemingly without
Good morning, Sweet Fly. How are you doing?
cessation these days. So what we're going to do is I don't want to misconstrue the situation. We'll listen to a short video that she
Mary Jane, the Ask a Mortician, the video that's gonna play, the creator, she has 2 million subscribers.
did. Her in her own words explaining what happened, and then we'll go straight into the video that she is talking about. That was uneducational, had no educational intent, and was full of gore and whatnot. It's insane. So let's bump into this here, and I'll let it play straight through. So if there's any super chats or anything like that that come in, I'll hit them up after the video. Except for Brandon Lesko just came in right under the line here. He says, I don't know where are we at here. I don't know about the people I run with, but anyways, punish me harder, Jeffrey. Okay, thank you so much, Brandon, for kicking that off there. We've got Flux and Brandon doing the super chat thing. Any super chats from now on will be read after this 8-minute video. This is in her own words what happened, what her situation is all about, and how she may deal with it. Let's
So let's see. Denise, have you? Well, I know you've been commenting on the Laura Owens case and recent indictment. Are you thinking of looking into the background of that? Um, I'm just gonna do my own little catch up thing in my own spare time. But I'm still not planning on doing any trial things on my channel. Not yet. I'll join other people's panel to like when they go over it and stuff, but none of those is gonna happen on my channel yet. Not yet. But I'm just gonna do my own little watch people's videos and catch up on Laura Owens case.
kick that off here.
Hi, everyone. I hope you had a good week. I did not. The last few years, our channel has been using the documentary format to tell bigger, more challenging stories. We released a video a few weeks ago called The Forgotten Disaster of the SS Eastland, which was about a largely forgotten boating accident in Chicago. It took months to create. Our whole team and people outside our team, historians, volunteers, family members of the victims, put their whole heart and soul into making this documentary and into getting it right. So the video comes out and the response is better than we even hoped for. And I know this sounds hopelessly corny, I hear myself, but we were just so genuinely proud of it. And then, about a week ago, I got an email from YouTube saying our documentary was in violation of community guidelines. Now, this is not the same thing as finding out your video has been demonetized. Demonetization is a risk we run, speaking openly about death. We've been to that rodeo. I'm the queen of that rodeo. YouTube is not about the money for us in the sense that Patreon and your individual donations have long since been the sole reason we can do this work. We never made all that much money from YouTube itself, comparable to other channels. We're not a financial channel or a beauty channel. We just don't have the same advertising rates or numbers, and we get demonetized. Instead, YouTube is our distributor. They're our Hulu, our Netflix. They're how you and millions of others get the content.
Okay, it's sorry for the pause. Is there an echo? Is it from his video or is it from me? Where is this echo coming from? If it's from his video, then I won't worry about it. If it's from mine, then I will worry about it. I'm like genuinely curious because it just barely picked up. Hopefully it's his video, not mine. Sound fine? Okay. It's from him? Sweet.
But when you violate community guidelines for various reasons, it means it's over. Your video is buried in a shallow grave, no one can find it. We went from just over 600,000 views to just over 600,000 views. The views stopped cold. It might as well have been pulled from YouTube. And if you're used to watching channels that may make multiple videos a week, you're like, whatever, folks, let it go. But this was the video. This was it. This was months of work. So the reason we were given why our Eastland project had violated community guidelines was display of non-graphic dead bodies without educational intent, graphic law enforcement without educational context, and violence with blood and gore. Those of you who did see the video will know none of that happened. We worked with the preeminent historians of this disaster, and nothing was done without educational intent. The whole point was educational intent. It's brimming with educational intent. There's certainly no violence and blood and gore. YouTube does allow you to appeal this, and we did so, and got back an automated email that said, "We know this is probably disappointing news, but it's our job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for all." Now, we do have a partner manager, which is something they give you with a certain amount of viewers or subscribers. But if you think we have a special bat signal to YouTube, no ma'am. We had met this person who was very nice, but has completely ghosted our multiple emails and pathetic pleas here. It's very likely she doesn't even work for YouTube anymore, and they just never told us. And there's no email, there's no info@youtube.com, there's no weekly audience with the king where I can like bring my chickens and ask for mercy. It's a fortress. Imagine having a boss who you've worked for more than 10 years, probably made a fair amount of money for them as an employee, but you don't know them. You've never met them until one day out of the blue they show up at your desk and say, "Your work has no educational intent," and I'm trashing it. To be honest, it hurts my feelings. And I know, why are my feelings hurt? These corporations are not your friend. And it's ironic that a major theme of the Eastland video was how big corporations are not looking out for you.
How's it going, sis? Welcome. Good morning.
But gosh darn it, I really love YouTube. And I love the freedom it's given me to create work that matters to me and my team on our own terms. Most of the time, I feel like I have the best job in the world. Like I have no boss and I do the advocacy I want, how I want. And then sometimes I get too high on my own supply for living outside the system, and something like this will come along and remind me that I do live in the system. I live in a society, yada yada. To be clear, this is not a call to action. Don't tweet at YouTube, it won't work. They don't know who I am, they do not care. I have no delusions about that. My only hope is they care so little for us they won't punish the channel further for me saying this. I guess we'll find out. We'll around and find out. Caitlin, what are you going to do moving forward? That's a great question. I'm not totally sure. Unfortunately, this happens to coincide with a time of big transitions in my life. After 16 years living in California, I'm moving to the East Coast. I was going to announce that more elegantly, but what the heck, let's do it now. Also, although this will happen over a longer period of time, we, meaning myself and Jeff, will slowly be handing ownership and operations of our LA funeral home Clarity over to an awesome young woman in Los Angeles while I potentially start something new out east. This is an effort to keep funeral homes small and local and owned by people who live in the community where it operates, which won't be Caitlin anymore. Gotta find someone else to push around Los Angeles. The hope is that in the long run, these are going to be positive developments for me. But Los Angeles funeral home owner Caitlin Doty was my identity for so long. And in this process of transition, the one thing that has felt really sure and really solid is the desire to keep creating these documentaries. And now that has been pretty radically destabilized as well. I am what the kids call going through it. And maybe what happened with our Eastland project, this violation of community guidelines, won't happen again. But we have no idea why it happened in this case. And there's no way.
Connor's making a huge yarn mess. Leave me alone. This was back when the mass exodus from California after 2020. Oh, I see. I'm told now the way you can show certain things is dumb, some, yeah, but not okay. But can we teach people how to deal with their triggers, not removing them completely? True. True.
To find out, and that's a wild risk to take when each documentary takes months to make. You know what I'm imagining to someone who's never seen me or this content before is that meme that's like, I can't read all this, congratulations, or sorry that happened to you. Here's what I can tell you. We have a more advocacy focused video we're already in the editing process on, so we're gonna plow ahead and hopefully release that next month. And beyond that, we actually have no idea. We'll keep making videos and live streams for patrons because, yes, Patreon is another corporation. I get that. But at least there, my bosses are you. If you don't like something or it's bad, you just tell me directly. I do just want to say to the people who care so much about the Eastland that we worked with on this video and trusted us, I am so sorry. Here is the one call to action. They haven't actually taken the video down, the link works. Please share it directly with your friends and people you know who love history and forgotten history. Thank you for your years of support. My whole team thanks you. We're not going to give up. We may walk around just angrily weeping for a while, but we will figure this out. We're going to tell our little stories, and no one, I mean no one, is going to stop us.
Okay, so that is the explanation and the plea from Ask a Mortician herself. She has a fantastic channel, and we've used her videos before, both on my channel and on the show that I do with Fair and Balance, The Unexplained. We use her for the Romanovs. An absolute amazing historian, as well as as you heard, a legit real mortician. So she does a lot of the death related shows and things. And I was actually going to, as I said at the beginning, play her video of Moby Dick, her discussion of Moby Dick, because that is another cannibalism story that I promised you last week. But we're going to delay that till next week and talk about the vessel, the SS Eastland disaster, the one that she says YouTube told her has no educational value, has no educational intent, and is full of dead bodies and gore, which is utter crap. So, yeah, we're just gonna have to go through and see how this looks. And Corn Pop, yes, I will be streaming the Brooks
And hello, good morning, Marloka. How are you doing?
trial after this. So we're going to be doing this for about another hour and 10 minutes. Then we'll go do that. So that is the deal. But thankfully thankfully for me and unfortunately for her, her video that got blasted by YouTube is a maritime related video. So that's the one we're going to go look at. We're going to watch the forgotten disaster of the SS Eastland, which is the video that she was just saying has been essentially buried by YouTube. And you can judge for yourself if it has any value whatsoever, if it has any educational value, if it has any interest. It's a fascinating story. It's a forgotten story, and it's one that needs to be told. And so don't just watch this. Do me a favor after this video, when you have some free time, just go and click on the link that's in the description here. Go watch the original video. Even if you don't want to watch the original video without my commentary, just click play and let it play through. Get her the attention. And if you're so inclined, tell YouTube on Twitter to give her the damn monetization of this video back. To tell them it does not violate community guidelines. And with that said, let's get into the forgotten disaster of the SS Eastland. It's a
Becky. In my opinion, Maritime Mondays are some of the best contacts from Jeff. He really shines. That's just his sweat. That's why he shines. Matt Sarah's stunt double. Grounds? Huh? I am confuzzled on this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this grounds is. Oh, I see. Because when you said grounds, I thought you were talking about
Release the hounds.
But never mind. I don't know if you heard that, but yeah. Daryl Brooks, captain of USS Boxford. Alrighty.
story about a particularly tragic event that happened on the Chicago River. Let's pull it up here. Pulling it up here. Hang on. Well, do we have a little bit of an echo? How weird. All right.
Growing up on the west side of Chicago when I was probably about 10 years old, my dad said to me, "You better learn how to swim." And I said, "Why should I learn how to swim?" He says, "Never mind, you learn how to swim. Otherwise, you'll end up like people on the Eastland."
Oh, wait, I forgot. Uh, I forgot to read the super chats I said I would read when we got to this point in the video. So let's go back and read a couple of these super chats. Paul Farrell says, pick up a bottle of Glenmorangie 10 year. It is incredible for the price. Absolutely. I completely and totally agree. I have a Glenmorangie shelf right there, as a matter of fact. About 10 different Glenmorangies there. Glenmorangie 10 year, the original, absolute perfect entry level scotch. For anybody that has any interest in scotch, you cannot go wrong with that. Absolutely good. Thank you so much for the super chat there, Paul. Deeply appreciated. BDB, thank you for the $2 for what it's worth. Who is this true? And moving right along. Brandon, let's go. Wait, did she just said you're slamming her headboard into the wall, LV? No, I don't think she said that, Brandon.
I don't know who knows me more, Brooks or Bren, however it's spelled. I don't know either, because I am very behind on those.
Gotcha, bitch!
Happy, Melly? You happy? Rosamund Ranch, I'm a bit behind because I was taking pictures of horses, but Shiny because his sweat made me giggle. Well, I'm glad you laughed.
And I really, really don't. With that, with that out of the way, let's go jump back into the video here. Thanks, Brandon.
The attitude within historical consciousness kind of became, who cares?
The tragedy of the Titanic needs no introduction.
And we have Ash Axiom with the one Vice Baby gifted membership. Thank you, I really appreciate you. And Tootly Pip got the membership. Well, Tootly Pip, if you're lurking about or somewhere, I don't know. Please say thank you to Ash. And Ash, thank you for the support. I really, really, really appreciate you. And I can play Battle of the Buns with Megan. Yeah, I told Megan that I figured it out. So if you, oh, that was loud. My bad. Volume warning, everyone. But yeah. So if you hear like any like static noise, like a white noise, yeah, I had to turn off the automatic sound cancellation thing, whatever. So, yeah. I'll tune this down a little bit. But yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Ash.
But what if I were to tell you that just 3 years later, right here in this spot in the Chicago River, another massive ship would founder, killing more passengers than the Titanic, most of them young women and children. And the most pop culture attention it's gotten in recent years is this episode of the late 90s Disney TV show So Weird.
I'll bet you haven't heard of the Eastland disaster.
What was the Eastland? What happened to all of the bodies? And perhaps strangest, why do we seem to have forgotten that it ever happened at all?
So one thing that we've forgotten again is very, very few people have heard of the Eastland tragedy here. And as she just mentioned, more people died on this ship right here. I mean, you can see how close they are to land and everything. And this thing, more people died here than died on the Titanic in the middle of the ocean. But one thing that's not going to be forgotten is Tank Rat gifted 20 memberships. Thank you so much for that, Tank Rat. That is awesome. That's awesome. Go ahead and get that. Get those, you lucky people to get these gifted memberships. Tell Tank Rat thank you so much for his gift.
And Aussie Raid, welcome. Thank you, Hayden, for rating. Volume warning, headphone warning. I don't know how loud that one was, so yeah. I'm gonna give out warnings now. Hello, Jem. Welcome. Just about the time you all got settings perfect, Junior, or technologies will cause changes. Yep. Island, welcome. Call me Gohan, welcome. Tankrat, hey, speaking of Tankrat, welcome. And I'll be in Chicago next week. Never heard of this. Yeah, so this is the disaster of the East SS Eastland. So yeah, just got ghost chills. Hey, you say Tankrat's name and Tankrat will show up. Digger, good morning, welcome. So yeah, so this is the SS Eastland, another tragic story in the maritime world. Should be doing chores, but I'm hiding here knitting. Yeah, it's okay. Ginger with the soul. Hello, I'm here lurking while having my morning coffee. Well, hey, welcome. Paul Farrell. Hey, you popped up on the super chat one too. Nice. Everyone who just popped up on on the super chats is popping up on this stream. Wow. Hey, Vice Baby, do you have the gotcha bitch button? Are you talking about this one?
Gotcha, bitch.
Wow. Hello, D What? Welcome, and Winks, hello. La 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 la. Yeah. Hey, I figured out my little soundboard stuff, so hey, I can play sounds. Ooh. But again, Ozzy, Hayden, my dear brother, thank you for the raid. Major sarcasm. Hello. New here? Well, major sarcasm, welcome to this humble little channel. We just like to chill, hang out, and just enjoy each other's company. Right now I'm going through the Legal Vices playlist of Maritime Monday while I do some crocheting. We like sounds, we do like sounds. Jem, what did you have for dinner yesterday, Connor? I had grilled cheese and tomato soup. And D Wood, I will not be reading your comment. Mary Jane, I wish I ate lobster. Days. Yeah. And yeah, Island, speaking of tea, I am drinking the Dragon Treasures Iroh's Legacy, which is the jasmine green tea. Get yourself one at thedragonstreasure.com. I don't have a code. Should I contact T-Man to get a code? I don't know. I don't feel I don't feel worthy. But yeah, I already done goofed. It's okay, D-What. It's okay. It happens. It's morning. It's still early. It's okay. Don't worry. We're still here. I don't hate you. Yet. Okay, let's get back into the video. So far what he covered was absolutely nothing. You guys came here at a perfect time, so it's just this SS Eastland tragedy killed more people than the Titanic, but somehow people have forgotten about this event. So that's what he talked about, and there you go. Everyone have a good day. I have to go run errands now. Well, Paul, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back into it.
Welcome to the Western Electric family. Our exciting new world needs exciting new technology. Here at Western Electric, you'll manufacture and supply telephone service to folks all over our great nation. At our Hawthorne plant, located just outside Chicago, we've created not a home away from home, but a home, period. A place to work, live, and play. Come join us. Bring the wife and kids with you. Western Electric.
And Tankrat, congratulations for 2 months of memberships. He says hi all. And Marloka also a second month of memberships.
Western
Good morning,
Electric's
good night,
Hawthorne
everyone.
plant was like the Google or Apple of 1915. Back at
How's it going, T-Rex? Good morning.
their Chicago plant, there was a little issue with violence as the workers demanded shorter days and better working conditions. So Western Electric naturally started looking for a place outside the city to accommodate more workers and less drama. The neighborhood of Hawthorne, 10 miles west of the city, seemed just right. Occupying 203 acres, the Hawthorne plant was like a town within a town, wrote Eastland researcher and author Jay Bonansinga. It was filled with neighbors, bonded by the fact that they were predominantly first or second generation Czech or Polish immigrants. The town within a town featured its own railroad station, athletic fields, company stores, gymnasia, ice cream parlors, laundries. Sure, working at Western Electric meant a grueling 6-day work week, but they tried to
Aussie has spoken. 20 of you something rats haven't hit the like button. How dare you? How dare you? Hit the like and subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And if you already subscribed, please double check that you are still subscribed because YouTube can be asshole and unsubscribe you. So, appreciate you guys. Tank Rat has a tank. Be careful.
balance that with a culture that emphasized fun. A style of corporate work culture perhaps not that different from where you work right now. But the foosball table, the on-tap kombucha, the nap pods? In this spirit of fun, an entertainment committee called the Hawthorne Club hosted an annual picnic. For one Saturday in the summer, all Hawthorne employees had the day off, their only responsibility being fun in the sun. In 1915, the tickets were $75.
Becky, I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. And Roseman, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. And Mary Jane, Jeff taught you nothing about ships? Yeah, because I didn't show interest. That's why. I actually might remember this stream. Hey, your memory's coming back. Congratulations. And Matt Sarah Stunt Double, thank you. Appreciate you for being here.
Cents, which got you on the boat to Michigan City, Indiana for a day of relaxation, games, swimming, maybe a bit of flirting, and socializing. It was early morning, July 24th, 1915, here along the Chicago River. There was the normal bustling of produce vendors and warehouse workers, but joining them that Saturday morning were the employees of Western Electric and their friends and their
And
family
Maria
excited
Floor.
for the annual
Whoa,
company picnic.
pause. Maria Floor, thank you for the 500 Mexican pesos. Good morning, Connor and Chet. Since I am in Mexicali, Mexico, it doesn't give me the option of dollar chats. Huh? Interesting. I think it's. I don't know. Bro, it's a lot of liquor. You forget shit sometimes. Yeah, I understand. It's okay. And Tankrad, welcome to the Metal Vice. Thank you for the support. I really, really appreciate you. We like to chill, hang out, play games, maybe be chaotic every once in a while. That's the word. And most importantly, we like to enjoy each other's company. Welcome to the Metal Vice. I really appreciate your support. Hey, greetings, Chad and Connor. Hello, Dark Lotus. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's Mexican currency? It is pesos. Pesos is the currency. I don't know. Is 500 pesos $1? Is that how it goes? I don't know. YouTube is weird.
It was right here that the SS Eastland was docked with 2,500 people waiting to board. We came here to the river with Ted Wacholtz, the executive director of the Eastland Disaster Historical Society.
So are you seeing how utterly uneducational and lacking of any any educational intent this video is? That is such a bullshit thing.
Oh, 20 pesos is $1? Yeah, okay. That is weird. But I really appreciate your super chat, Maria. Thank you very much.
YouTube is doing to this video. But I mean, so you're getting some of the things we haven't had the ability to do and see on most of the Maritime Monday cases we've dealt with, to actually go to the location where it is, now, and see how it is now, and talk to actual historians that have studied and relatives of people that died or survived in the incident.
As you'll see, Ted is both a historian and a passionate defender of the Eastland's memory.
Oh my gosh, lots of activities this morning. Ooh, Cynthia Firefly. When it comes to like and subscribe I'm on autopilot. It's the very first thing I do when I tune into a channel I love. Good morning, Connor and Chad. Going for coffee. Well, Cynthia, thank you for being here. I can't talk. Thank you for being here. Huh. And thank you for the like and subscribe. I really appreciate you. Going to grab coffee? Well, hey, don't burn yourself. Be safe. And Emil, thank you for the $2 super chat. What up, you very nice people? What up, you very nice person? Welcome. Hope you're having a good start to your Saturday. Or Sunday, wherever you are. Joshua, is that how you say your name? I'm sorry if I butchered it. Hello from Netherlands. Hello from Utah, USA. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is in the Netherlands. Milano came out with London fog flavored cookies, tea flavored cookies combined two of my favorite things. I am looking forward to it. Ooh. Let me know how it is. Let me know how it is.
On that morning, the Eastland was docked between Clark and LaSalle Street on the south bank of the river, tied to the wharf.
And wow, lots of pausing. My bad, people. Wow. I'm the princess. Good morning. Just got to work. Y'all will be with me as I file. Hey, we're honored to be here, and thank you for being here too.
By 5 lines. The Eastland begins boarding at 6:40 a.m.
2,500
13-year-old
people.
Bobby Onstad could barely contain her excitement. Her uncle Olaf was bringing Bobby, her mother, and her 9-year-old sister Solveig to the picnic, and their family had arrived at the crack of dawn, eager to be some of the first aboard and get the best seats. As they climbed onto the ship,
Cash App, I'll have to make. Venmo, I do have.
Bobby's mother, Marianne, commented she didn't like the feel of the Eastland. Marianne grew up the daughter of a fisherman in Norway and spent a harrowing 2 weeks aboard a ship emigrating to America when Bobby was just a baby. Marianne had the feel for boats, and this one didn't feel right to her. She told her daughter, "There are too many people on this boat." Only 1 minute into boarding, the Eastland already starts to lean starboard, meaning towards the dock. Loading of the ship has to be put on hold in an attempt to fix the lean, known as a list. Less than 15 minutes later, she lists again, this time to port, away from the dock. On the Eastland, the ballast system was huge.
Now, for those of you that are the Maritime Monday ride or die crew, how many of these accidents that we've talked about so far have started with too damn many people on board? And how many of those cases have also involved ballast problems to balance the ship out? Mimics are cringe. Yeah, that's what makes them funny. They're campy. I like camp. Camp is fun. Corporate mandatory fun, says Sonia or Chris, sounds worse than Army mandatory fun. As someone who is routinely subjected to mandatory office fun, it probably is. Thank you for the super chat. And Dallin9 says, Eastland isn't even the worst maritime disaster. No, we actually talked about that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We did the SS Sultana, which was the deadliest maritime disaster in American history.
What happened? Everything's happening. Chat. La 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 la. Oh god, this one. Well, hey, remember it. Get Cash App and I'll hit you up. I guess I'll make Cash App. Cannibalism? I don't know. We're gonna need a bigger boat? Probably. It's like swinging ferns for emphasis. Okay? Bonehouse, yeah. Alrighty, but well, I guess I'll be making Cash App while listening to this. I'll put the crocheting on hold for a little bit.
Not by much, though. So if you're interested in the SS Sultana, which was actually it happened on the Mississippi River, and it was far more, it was moderately more deadly. Like I said, not much, but it was more deadly than this accident. Yeah, we already discussed that. If you go, we have a playlist for Maritime Monday lined up. You can just go through and click on all of those. And now back to our regularly scheduled.
And Ash, thank you for the 2 months of membership in the Metal Vice. Is your Venmo listed somewhere? It is not. Mwahahaha. What are we crocheting over here? I'm still crocheting the frickin' stupid shark. Completion time 38 hours, my ass. It's been over 12, I think. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I'm still working on that.
Program.
Tanks in the bottom of the ship that would be emptied or filled with water in an attempt to keep the ship balanced. It was far from an exact science. It was the chief engineer's job to basically eyeball the tanks and fill them accordingly. What are the passengers thinking as their boat is slowly starting to lean to the side?
It's documented in historical record that the passengers kind of thought it was like an amusement ride. As it leaned toward the river, they go, ooh. And then when it rolls back and straightens, there's a ah that comes out from the crowd. Passengers are really unaware of what's about to happen.
At 7 a.m., they resume boarding, and the leaning to port continues. But the order is still given to
We'll be
start
talking about the
Eastland's
Andrea Doria
engines.
a little bit
By
later.
7:10 a.m., the Eastland reaches her capacity of 2,500 passengers and 70 crew. Over the next 10 minutes, the boat leans, rights itself, leans, rights itself. By 7:20 a.m., up on the wharf, the harbor master Adam Weckler notices the list and yells up to the Eastland's captain, Captain Pedersen, that he will not let him cast off unless the ship is brought back to even keel. But Captain Pedersen isn't worried. Wait, why wasn't he worried? He wasn't worried because he was extremely used to it. The SS Eastland was first launched in 1903, 12 years earlier. The ship had a reputation for being cranky, which didn't mean she was the Statler and Waldorf of the Great Lakes, but rather nautical lingo for being unstable in the water. She was built by the Jenks Shipbuilding.
That's not really good if your ship is known to be unstable.
Cargo ships carry their stationary weight down low, but the Eastland was an excursion ship, meaning she carried her weight on the higher decks in the form of passengers. Over the years, the top heaviness of this boat only increased. After the Titanic sank, there was a movement to have more lifeboats on ships, a lifeboats for all movement, which made the Eastland even more top heavy. Then they replaced some of her floors with concrete, which made her even more top heavy. She wasn't designed well for passengers, but there was more money in passengers. There were countless incidents of the Eastland's wild instability over the years, and it was no secret. In 1910, the Eastland's owners took out a full-page ad in the Cleveland Plain Dealer, saying basically, we'll give you $5,000 if you can prove the Eastland is dangerous. The ad called her the staunchest, fastest, and safest boat devoted to pleasure on the Great Lakes.
Well, I wonder if anybody cashed in on that $5,000 reward, because clearly it wasn't safe. Don't know what to tell you there other than clearly not safe. Ugh. So many, and I know this is something we repeat over and over and over again. So many of these accidents are preventable with just a minimum level of care or concern or responsibility on anybody's part. Now, before we go any further, we do have one more super chat. That is Dragon's Treasure, some good tea. Everyone, thank you so much for this, by the way, Dragon's Treasure. Go to Dragon's Treasure if you want some amazing tea, and use code VICES to get 10% off. Yes, I too have been invaded by the Dragon's Treasure tea grift. So go ahead and get that tea. Get that tea and use code VICES. Because, hey, why not? Why not get 10% off? Thank you so much, Dragon's Treasure. Deeply appreciated. Baloney Bong, how to cash in. Wait, yeah. Well, I know how you can cash in on tea, but pretty much sure this this reward. Hey, Silver Crypto 2022 is a new member. Thank you so much. Deeply appreciated. We've with the graciousness of our gifting overlord, we have now crossed the 500 members line. And by the way, we'll be doing a members only stream Saturday morning my time.
I don't have a T code, but I guess I'll try and get one.
Time Friday night your time. The time hasn't been set yet, but I'll put out an announcement. And it'll be our members only stream this Friday night. And Brandon Lesko, what are you drinking on this fine Monday? You can't do the trial sober, and you know it. I was planning on it. I don't have anything lined up here. Well, I don't have a glass to put it in, but as I panic, looking for adult beverages. Oh, I have a little bit of Buffalo Trace here within arm's reach. Thank you so much, Brandon. Let's go. Cheers. We'll be sipping on that slowly because I pickled myself over the weekend. Thank you so much. Deeply appreciated. All right. We still got some ground to cover, so let's pop back into this and cheers. Always appreciated.
Lakes. Before saying, essentially, she has all these haters who know nothing about boats, trying to say she's not safe, and you cannot prove anything. The instability was so commonplace that morning on the Chicago River, Captain Pedersen continues right on preparing to depart, even as water is coming on to the main deck. By 7:27 a.m., the list...
Now, if you're listing so bad to one...
And just dawn, welcome. Good morning. I'll bet Jeff has booze at arm's reach. I have an empty bottle at arm's reach. T-Grift is the best grift. Yeah. I'll try and get a code.
On side that you're going below the water line and water is coming onto the deck, you're a bee's dick away from totally flipping that sucker. So yeah, if you're ever on a ship and it's leaning to one side so far that there's water coming on deck, look for the lifeboats. Look for the life jackets.
Is so great that the passengers on the highest deck are asked to move starboard. But because of the now 40-degree list and the slippery deck, they can't move. But the passengers do not panic. The Eastland Band plays ragtime, and people
how very Titanic-like,
and joke about the ship's lean.
To this day, history remembers that it was a sudden rush of passengers to the river side of the ship. Absolutely, that did not happen. If you pull the transcripts from both the criminal trial and the civil trial, every eyewitness testified under oath that they observed no sudden movement of passengers on the ship.
That's crucial. No sudden rush of passengers on the ship means no blaming the passengers themselves for what was about to happen.
Yeah, and you know what else it means? To me, it seems to mean that they didn't tell the passengers that you've gone 40 degrees list already. There's nothing left we can do at this point.
By 7:28 a.m., the Eastland is listing at 45 degrees. Glasses and plates fall from their shelves and break. The band stops playing right in the middle of a song. A refrigerator slides to port, crushing two women. Water is coming in from the gangway and from the portals. Now the passengers definitely know something is wrong. Passengers raced for the main staircase, but the rush caused a deadly bottleneck that trapped, crushed, and would eventually drown many people.
Mm.
According to the Chicago Tribune, this staircase is where most of the bodies were found. The list is now at 75.
Yeah, that's
bodies.
done.
People begin jumping off the Eastland.
And hello, Iris. Welcome, welcome. Good to see ya. Tea's yummy with the obligatory liquor shots. This is dramatic? Well, hey, all tragedies are dramatic.
Water keeps coming onto the ship, hastening the ship's roll. With a deafening snap, a piling that the ship is fastened to is ripped from the pier. Finally, in the moments before 7:30 a.m., the SS Eastland rolls onto her port side into the river, unceremoniously turning over, according to a nearby policeman, like an egg in the water. The Eastland came to rest in only 20 feet of water, 19 feet away from the wharf. Even the photos, the huge ship on its side seems strange, but somehow undramatic. But to those caught in her hull and flailing in the water, they may just as well have been in the middle of the ocean.
When it went over, if
And Tankrat, thank you for the 10 Vice Baby gifted membership. I really appreciate you. Wow, we got Digger, we got Karate Cat Mom, Beth, Storybook Doll, Pleb Life, Out About with Diane, Megan Fox, Haley Mouse, Lady Tammy, and Jen Edwards and Leonidas the kitty who got the memberships. Please, if you are in the chat, thank you. And please say thank you to Tankrat. Wow. Thank you. Wow. I appreciate you, Tankrat. That's very generous of you. I really appreciate it.
you can just imagine 1,000+ people all raining down your way, all of the debris, the boxes, the cases of beer, the refrigerator, the piano, all of that, all the people coming your way. The people on the riverside of the ship virtually had no chance.
To the passengers trapped inside, the ship was described as a funhouse. Floors became walls, walls became ceilings, water rushed into the compartments, throwing furniture around. The Eastland was equipped with thousands of life preservers, but all of them were locked up at the time of the disaster.
All of the life preservers are locked up. Got nothing to say there. Yeah. Oops. I mean,
The water was teeming with souls inside and outside the ship. People clawing at people, fighting to stay afloat. They were dressed in their best clothes for a picnic, and in 1915, for women, that meant layers upon layers of heavy clothing. Even if a person were able to swim, and many could not, the weight threatened to drag them
Welcome, Helen. Good to see ya.
down or exhaust them. And even if you were able to tread water in the river, you may be dragged under by another person holding on to you desperately for dear life. One of the very few people located on the port side of the ship who survived was J.V. Brown. He was plunged underwater, people grabbing at his hair and his arms and his legs.
now, port side doesn't mean the side that's next to the port. Port side is the left side of the ship, and it rolled over on its left side. So the starboard side was against the pier, was against the port side, but the port side is the left side, and so it rolled over on its port side. It rolled over on its left side, so that's why there were so few survivors on that side. Just a little nautical terminology to keep us straight here. Oh yeah, we already did that. Hey, there's another one for you. That's a freebie for being awesome. Vepper, do you remember the Vincuna explosion? I do not. I was nearby when it happened. The shockwave was insane. Well, that's something to look into because we've done explosions before. We've done a couple of big explosions dealing with the port facilities and ships. DBD $2, thank you so much for the super chat. How drunk was the captain? By all accounts, he was.
Did we get another raid? Digger, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. Uh, uh, yeah, Moo Mama. Hello, welcome. God of Church. You have a great day too. Well, looks like. Did we get it from Veteran Nation? Wow, thank you. I don't know what's going on today. Happy Saturday, I guess. Wow. Freckle Ginger. I see you started without me again. It's becoming a habit. Yeah, well, hey. Gotta be on top of your game. Well, Veteran Nation, thank you for the raid. I really appreciate you.
Wasn't. But he was just used to being on a really crappy ship that had trouble staying upright. No Care-san, Legal Vices, what side do you go to when the boat starts to flip? Is there a
Ash, thank you for the 555. Blah, 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 blah. I can talk. Wow, what's happening? Ash, thank you for the 5 Vice Baby gift memberships. I really appreciate you. Got Moo Mama, Swass. Wow, great name. Lynn, Book Hermit, and Tinsel and TP that got the memberships. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What is going on today? Wow. Thank you. Damn. Gotta turn the volume down on the horn. I don't know how. So, let's see. Foghorn. Configure. Edit. It's at negative 24 decibels now. So, hopefully that will. Hopefully that will fix it. It was at negative 12 decibels. Have to edit in the Rodecaster software. Do it later. People will. Yeah. That's what it sounds now. But yeah, wow. Thank you for all the memberships. I'm setting up the cash app. So hey, let's continue.
safe place to go off the ship? You want to be out in the open. You don't want to be caught on the ship when it goes upside down or sinks in the water. You want to be as free as possible from it. So lifeboats, life jackets, and lifeboats. In this situation, you'd want to be on the starboard side, on the right side of the ship, and like you saw everybody else just climb onto the right side of the ship. Yeah, really bad situation. How did this video get hit? Asked Spud Gun. There is nothing wrong with it. That is the point. That's why I'm taking this out of order and focusing on this today. This is the video that YouTube says has no educational value. Not only no educational value, but says it has no educational intent whatsoever and is just full of gore and blood. YouTube is broken. Support Ask a Mortician in any way you can. Get it out on Twitter. Go directly to this video that's in the. I have a link to the original video. Just put it on play and let it play through. Get her the views, get the attention that way. Andro Leo Jeff, you are the best, man. Thank you for covering this trial. This is a great precursor too, since Darrell is in naval court. Yeah, he wants to be in admiralty court. Unfortunately, he's not. But yeah, we will be getting to his BS thing here in a little bit. 45 minutes from now, we'll be starting that. And let's clear these last two super chats and get back to it here. Nancy, hey, thank you so much, Nancy. I just want to thank you and Legal Mindset for quickly coming to her defense this weekend while you were having fun. Fair and Balanced also mentioned it. I think Scott, the internet historian, also mentioned it, I believe. Few people are coming there, and lots of her fans are. But yeah, it'd be nice if you could just let YouTube know through Twitter that they screwed up with this. While you were having fun, she wasn't just demonetized; she's always demonetized. Yeah, they gave her channel strike for violating the terms of service. Yeah, pretty crappy deal, and just buried her video. Can you explain bottleneck, please? Thanks, Legal Vices. Yeah, it's literally a bottleneck. That's you have a bunch of people down here and a very small narrow passageway, such as stairs. And we've all seen it. When 800 people want to get on the elevator at the same time, when a large group of people want to go through a small doorway at the same time, or a large group of people go down the stairs at the same time, the bodies literally pile up. You get squished, people get hurt, people get injured, people die. So yeah, it's literally you're creating a bottleneck, a narrowing of the passageway. And that's what happened around the stairwell.
And Anti-Pterodactyl, welcome. Thanks for being here. Hank Smith's got an entitlement. Welcome. Hello, Vice Baby, and everyone. Sorry I'm late. I was dealing with a few things since my mom passed away a week ago Friday. I am sorry for your loss, but thank you for being here. And hopefully we can give you some comfort. But yeah. Thank you. Oh, Rhonda. Okay, I see. But I'm good to see you here.
Let's
In a
get back
fight
to
for
this
his
non-educational
life, Brown
video.
admitted to kicking and punching those people off to find safety.
Probably some of the most poignant words came from his testimony, and he described that by saying, "No man is a hero underwater."
No man is a hero underwater.
Mm.
People in the buildings along the river watched in helpless horror. Merchants and workers on the wharf were heaving items into the river to act as flotation devices: wooden boxes, ladders, egg crates, life preservers. Some of the wooden boxes bashed people in the head and sent them underwater. Hundreds of chicken coops were thrown in, with around 30 passengers being saved by the coops. But with thousands of people, nothing seemed to be enough. One woman was described as setting her baby on a floating deck chair in the river, pushing it towards safety, blowing a kiss goodbye, then sinking beneath the dark water. Trapped inside the ship, between the cabin and promenade decks, were 13-year-old Bobby Onstad and her mother Marianne, the one who didn't like the feel of the ship. A strong swimmer, Bobby loved the water, and she was able to tread water despite feeling people grab at her from every direction. Bobby's uncle Olaf dived again and again beneath the black water, thick with sewage, oil, and debris, to rescue people and bring them to the surface. Olaf saved 27 people that day, staying to help even after he was eventually rescued. Bobby waited, with food, furniture, garbage, corpses floating around her, excruciating screams and pounding.
Now, I'm just this is just a pure avoidance system here. Just gonna bring this up for just a quick second and say hi to everybody. I don't, YouTube is on the hunt. Don't want to give them any more reason than they have to continue to hunt. So I'm just interrupting the flow here for just a quick second. And while we're doing that, hi Prashanta, where did that? I saw the super sticker. Where'd it go? There we.
Well, right before he gets that super sticker, I will interrupt this broadcast as well. Doing crafts, yeah, I'm doing crochet. That's what I'm doing. And hopefully this works. Let's see. Oops. There. Grammarly, I don't need you. Hopefully that works. If not, oh well, I tried.
Here we are. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Deeply appreciated. Um, all right, I think that should be good enough. But while we're sitting here, we currently have 657 current viewers and 306 likes. Only half of you again have done your job. So the other half of you, get down there, hit that like button. We can get up to 600 likes that fast. Just in the blink of an eye. It takes no time whatsoever.
Oh, Freckle, I'm always a hooker. Well, I'm learning how to be a hooker. Just like you. Project Metal Music. Hello. How are ya? No, I don't have Legos anymore. All of my Legos are done. And I threw away one.
And hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Every Monday we do this. We do a Maritime Monday thing every Monday where we talk about shipping disasters, ship collisions, maritime related incidents, and the aftermath. Next week we're going to be doing the history of the Moby Dick again with the internet being what it is. We're going to be using Ask a Mortician's breakdown of the actual real Moby Dick, the case that inspired Moby Dick, which involves a whole bunch of cannibalism. We were supposed to do that today, but because of this situation, I just wanted to show some support for her by reviewing and talking about and educating people on the Eastland here. So that's what we're going to do. Let's jump back to it. Hopefully that'll keep the YouTube wolves at bay. We'll find out though.
The water continued to rise in her little pocket between decks. Water that was already disgusting, dumped in from the stockyards.
Ugh.
That beautiful green water in our footage? Yeah, the river didn't look like that in 1915. Response to the disaster was both fast and slow. By the time the ship rolled, most of the crew had fled. Their desertion was not the most heartwarming story to come out of the Eastland. Captain Pedersen merely climbed over the rail as the ship tipped and landed on top of the starboard side hull. Wrote Bonansinga, he never even got his feet wet. This is not to say all the crew behaved this way. In the immediate aftermath, there was a fear that the Eastland's boiler could explode.
Oh, and we did the boiler explosions, didn't we? Yeah, again, if you know that's what happened with the Sultana, boiler explosions.
Just that boy. I guess they covered Mocha Dick already. Okay. Just like me, I'm Sam, advanced hacker, but you can keep working on it. Maybe one day you'll compare balls. Alrighty. Is it weird that cannibalism brought a smile to my face? Oh no, not weird at all. I'm on the same boat here. Should I make a new Venmo account so it's just like purely for YouTube? Because I don't know, because I know people can see my other friends' payments too. So
Not a good thing. When the boiler explodes, that's the end. At least back then it was.
Event that could have compounded the catastrophe and killed many more people. The chief engineer, Joseph Erickson, descended into the engine room and opened the boilers so they wouldn't be shocked as the cold river water flooded in. He was one of the few executive officers who stayed aboard the ship until the last moment, putting his own life at risk. At first, the police on site seemed locked into protocol, although what protocol did they have for this particular situation? They held people back, stopping them from helping, but would also not dive in, literally, themselves. A welder and his team heard about the disaster and rushed their equipment to the scene to cut into the hull and save those trapped. But still, the police held the line, not letting the welders through as time was ticking away. Inside the hull, Bobby was wondering, are they coming for us?
That sounds like
Do they
Uvalde,
even
doesn't
know
it?
we're in here? But some citizens refused
okay,
to be
I'll
stopped.
make a new Venmo.
Reggie Bowles, just a teenager, got word of the Eastland and immediately got on the motorcycle he'd been fixing and raced it to the site. Something of a swimming wunderkind, Reggie earned
That's
the
what a
name the
bottleneck
Human
looks like.
Frog that day for his relentless commitment to pulling out as many people as possible.
And hello, and Clara. Welcome.
from the river and the wreck. He finally collapsed after pulling 40 bodies from the water. That's not living people, that's a teenager doing large scale dead body recovery.
Wow.
He was eventually arrested. The reason given was he had ignored police orders to stop recovering bodies, but
Huh.
really it was to just give him a rest and a hot meal. When the welders were at last let through to slice into the hull, Captain Pedersen.
That's based. When you have to arrest a kid because he won't stop salvaging bodies, that's a hero.
Appeared, pushing his way through and demanding they stop. He was the captain, and they weren't going to cut into his ship. He was not only ignored, but one welder told him, "My orders are to save lives, not be careful of the boat." Captain
Based.
Pedersen then went on an enraged tirade on the hull of the Eastland, one that I can only imagine was caused by some sort of break in his psyche, not wild cruelty. Of course, the crowd had no sympathy for him, with calls to beat him and drown him. Both Pedersen as well as his first mate were eventually arrested by the acting police chief for their own safety. The
Yeah, what I don't know why you can't find me, but I'll try and figure it out as well. And Melissa, thank you, Connor, for keeping that voice going. You're welcome, and thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
threats of the angry crowd were not in jest. Help was coming now from every corner of Chicago, but people continued to drown by the minute.
Ugh.
In the precious minutes between 7:50 and
Sorry about that.
8:10 a.m., the line between rescue and recovery was being crossed. A number of witnesses remarked on the screaming. Nurse Helen Repa, who arrived shortly after the roll, said the screaming was the most horrible of all. But it was even more chilling as the screaming slowly stopped. The first hour saw hundreds of people being pulled from the river. Dr. Thomas Carter, one of the first doctors on the scene, would search for a heartbeat, and if none could be found, he would tell the nurse, "Gone, gone." Most died by asphyxiation, that is to say, they were crushed or drowned. If the person seemed to be clinging to life, a lung motor was called for, a kind of hand operated pump that would force air into a person's lungs. Strychnine would be injected into the person, both in an attempt to stimulate them and also
Mm.
protect them from the river water, thick with pollutants, human and animal waste, and diseases. Nobody knew more about the horrors of the dark, crowded water than the divers who came to assist in rescue and recovery.
I mean, there's some superheroes involved in this story. You've got the kid that they literally had, the frog kid they literally had to arrest to make him take a break and eat some food and get some sleep. You've got the welders that are telling the captain to go F himself so they can cut through the hull to try to rescue people. You've got these divers that are going into this literal cesspool of a river to try to save as many people for hours and hours on end. I mean, yeah, how horrible. I mean, what a horrific job that would be. Ugh.
Wearing those heavy metal helmets and bulky suits, they didn't have oxygen tanks on them. Their breathing line was a tube that snaked behind them through the wreckage, with a
Yeah, the
constant
old school
threat of
diving
their air
bells.
supply being pinched or cut off while they were deep in the bowels of the Eastland.
When the divers went into the hull, they were hoping to find survivors and be able to rescue them, but really by the time they arrived at the scene and entered the hull of the Eastland, it was nothing but a recovery mission, removing victims' bodies from the ship at that point in time.
As the day wore on into night, the rescuers pressed on. Most stopped only by exhaustion. Fireman Frank Swigert had been at the scene all day and was part of a bucket brigade that pulled bodies from the river and handed them over to stretcher bearers. At one point,
And I mean, it's fascinating that because this happened right on the wharf side, right there at the pier, you have all of these photographs of the incident and all of the workers and all of the people that they're talking about as it happened.
Point, he was handed the small body of a girl who, upon closer inspection, turned out to be Swiggert's own daughter.
Oh, Christ.
Without a word, the man, numb with grief, fell to the ground.
Oh, Christ. Can
I'm
you
now standing
imagine?
across the river in front of the Reed Murdoch building, which in
Good
1915
God.
held a grocery warehouse and offices. This building actually would have been one of the last things the passengers saw as the
Oof.
Eastland rolled. Its basement temporarily held a makeshift hospital and morgue. In the chaos following the disaster, the bodies had to go all over the city of Chicago, really anywhere they could find to
2,500
put them.
people were on the ship.
Funeral homes, morgues around the city, even a floating barge on the river. Eventually, a large central location was needed for the bodies. The 2nd Regiment Armory was chosen, which, for some of you in the loop, that's Chicago humor, may remember as Oprah Winfrey's Harpo Studios, before the building was demolished in 2016. But on that day in 1915, nearly 800 bodies lay silently on the floor, lined up in rows of 85. Now began the grim task of identification. People flocked to the armory, families looking for their loved ones, but also random people dubbed morbidly curious. The line stretched for
everybody
blocks,
these days.
thousands wanting to enter.
That's
At first,
everybody these
attempts
days.
were made to separate out those actually searching for their people versus those who just wanted to gawk at the victims of the Eastland. Coroner Peter Hoffman, a figure who emerged as a major force in the aftermath and investigation of the disaster, stood at the entry to the armory and said into a megaphone, "In the name of God, I ask you to go away and let those seeking relatives and friends come in and identify their dead." But people were so aggressive, so determined to make it into the armory, for the safety of everyone involved, Coroner Hoffman decided to let everybody in, 20 at a time, in a single file line. Throughout the night, nurses and coroner's assistants would help the grieving down the line of bodies, lifting the cover to reveal faces, to look at watches, birthmarks, pieces of clothing. When a body was identified, a cry would go up in the armory, and a volunteer would holler, "Identified!" The body would be taken to an area where the death certificate could be finalized. To move things along, Coroner Hoffman had rubber stamps created that said, "Drowned, July 24th, 1915, from steamer Eastland, Chicago River at Clark Street." As identification was going on, a team of 40 embalmers worked nonstop. There wasn't large-scale refrigeration in funeral homes in 1915, so embalming had to be done to stop decomposition in the scorching hot Chicago summer, as decomposition would make positively identifying the bodies way more difficult. It was also useful to get water out of the bodies and stop the blood from coagulating, 2 things that would make it harder to prepare the body for viewing, should there be family left to view them.
They had to use other personal artifacts, personal birthmarks to identify their loved ones. They couldn't just visually tell that that was their son or daughter. I mean, actually, there are cases where 2 families were claiming a single body as their son or daughter.
Yes, misidentifications did happen. Western Electric worker Emma Schroll died alongside her husband and 2 sisters in the disaster. But Emma's body was identified as being that of Margaret Morgan, and her body was brought to the Morgan family home for a viewing. Fortunately for the Morgans, the misidentification was caught, and the real Margaret Morgan was found back at the morgue. But the story gets even more difficult from there. In the meantime, the Schroll family had accidentally identified another, totally different young woman, a woman named Emma Meyer, as being their Emma. Even worse, Emma Meyer had already been buried in Emma Schroll's grave. It wasn't until
Oh God, can you just imagine all of this going on? And identification is a big problem, especially back. I mean, you didn't have DNA. Dental wasn't a thing. you just have to guess and look. And after time and if there's trauma, it can be hard. But to just stick it in another place and bury something, man, that's rough. One word: rumble. Tank rat. Yeah, yeah. Maybe the wave of the future. A savage. Thank you so much. Stupid question. As the follower of LawTube channels, any way we can set up your own YouTube app that we control and not YouTube and their laws? Not that would get any attention. I mean, YouTube, Twitch, things like that. They're the centers for all of this. Oh, thank you so much, KDP, for the awesome super sticker. Deeply appreciated. And the Japanese Yakuza 1 been catching up on the other Maritime Mondays, and I'm starting to be afraid to go on boats now, just like planes and bridges. I should just stop watching accidents on this stuff. No, don't. Just keep watching my videos, or at least, like them. Mighty Meat Legal Vices, if they were that close, why did so many people die? They were 20 feet away from the from the pier and 20 feet of water. Because the ship rolls, people get trapped under the decks, they get trapped underwater, they get trapped under the boat, they fall off the boat, objects crush them, fall on top of them, push them under the water, other passengers push them under the water, they get trapped under the decks, they run out of oxygen, they drown. Yeah, it's a mess. About 1/4.
Okay, so again, back to the Cash App thing. I'm sorry. I linked it in the description of my channel. So if you go to my channel page, and you'll see the Cash App link. Hopefully that one works.
Fourth of the people on this ship died. 1 out of 4.
Until a month.
So I mean, that's the thing to notice. I mean, if you ever get on a ship, seriously, even the big Carnival cruise lines and the big whatever they are, the big major cruise ships. If you get on them, the first thing you do is just find out where your room is, where the nearest exit is, where the light. They'll have diagrams up all over the place, and you can ask any crewman, where's the muster points if something goes wrong, where's the nearest lifeboat, where are the life jackets, just like you would on an airplane. Check things. You can never be too informed. Just saying.
Later that Emma Meyer was exhumed and conclusively identified by a mole on her shoulder and a scar on her forehead. As Cook County coroner, Peter Hoffman had a lot more power in the aftermath of the disaster than you might think. He assembled a group of men, an investigative team that would discern what happened to cause the disaster. The coroner also awarded stars to those who showed heroism in the recovery and rescue efforts. Olaf Ness, Bobby Anstad's uncle, was the recipient of one of those stars. But while an investigation bloomed, the dead still needed to be tended to, and there were so many dead. And so the unfortunate numbers. Of the approximately 2,500 passengers who boarded the Eastern
Here's where it gets
that day,
real.
844 died. Most were women and children. The average age of those who died was 23, and the majority who died were under 25. 58 were children, and 228 were teenagers. The tragedy created 175 widows, 3
Jeez.
of which were pregnant. It created 85 widowers and almost 40 children who no longer had either of their parents. It remains the greatest loss of life Chicago has ever seen in a single event, with casualties dwarfing the Chicago fire of 1871. Every other house out in Cicero, where the Western Electric Hawthorne plant was located, was a death house, its doors standing open so people could enter and kneel down before flickering candles. Some of the houses stood dark, with their doors shut, their families never returned. All in all, 22 families were killed in the disaster. That's 22 entire families. A member of one such family struck
Oof.
a nerve in the community. Victim number 396, or a boy they called Little Feller.
Yeah, this is pretty grim. We'll take a little break here in the middle of this grim story. I know people hate it when I interrupt things, but Yeah, this is a particularly grim story, so it's kind of, in case that's one thing they're focusing on, wanted to break it up just a little bit here. Andrew Brendan says you're 3 shots behind. Oh no, I'm not. There was only one. You can't play that little game on me. But again, while we're sitting here, just taking a brief pause to placate the YouTube gods, to educate you on how to behave in situations. If you ever find yourself caught on a 1915 steamer that gets in trouble at the pier, how to act. Well, I'm educating you on that. Hit the like button. With 774 of you and 473 likes, hit the subscribe button and go to Twitter if you haven't, if you're so inclined, and to let them know that Ask a Mortician is being done wrong on YouTube. Her Twitter deal, her Twitter is the good, I believe it's the Good Death. I should probably double check that just to be sure, huh? Let me run real quick. Yeah, at the Good Death is her Twitter handle. Let YouTube know they're doing her absolutely dirty by saying this video has no educational purpose, no educational intent, and violates terms of service for being gruesome and full of gore and blood. Stupid. And then I've clicked on the I haven't clicked. I've linked the original video down below. If you don't want to watch the entire original video without my commentary, if you just click on it and let it run through, give her whatever ad revenue it gets. Probably doesn't, it sounds like it doesn't get any ad revenue, but it gets the numbers up. Carrie Girl says Fair and Balanced family is 5 generations deep from Chicago. She might have stories about this. All of my mother's family is they all, as soon as they came from Ireland and Lithuania, they centered in the Chicago area. They worked in the Chicago stockyards, things like that. So yeah.
And thank you, Island, for dropping Ask a Mortician's link. Appreciate you.
Yeah, me as well. And they were in the Chicago Fire. We got several ancestors that were in the Chicago Fire. But anywho,
I did not know that. Hey, I learned new things about my family in Maritime Monday episodes.
I think that should be good enough. Let's get back and polish this off and then get over to Daryl Brooks.
Identification of the bodies at the armory slogged on into the week. One of the final bodies remaining unidentified was that of a young boy. As the days went by, the police and morgue attendants nicknamed him Little Feller. The boy's remains were moved to undertaking rooms on West
I'm doing this on
Madison Street
purpose.
in the hopes that somebody might know and identify him in his own community. Sure enough, a group of boys recognized Little Feller as 7-year-old Willie Novotny, one of their classmates. His grandmother was called to the undertakers and, through the new suit pants the boy was wearing, confirmed it was her grandson. Willie's parents, James and Agnes, as well as his 9-year-old sister Mamie, had all been killed, leaving nobody in his immediate family to search for him. By Tuesday, newspapers published the names of the identified dead. But this was only the first step. The bodies needed to be prepared and buried, but funeral directors were running out of resources. The volume of the dead was entirely unprecedented. Funeral homes encountered a shortage of hearses, horses, carriages, caskets, even embalming fluid. Funeral director Otto Muchna had been working non-stop since he got word of the disaster. The son of Bohemian, or Czech, immigrants, prepared to embalm yet another body from his community. In the hot Chicago summer, he hung a glass jar filled with formaldehyde from a hook suspended over a body and injected the chemical into the victim's brachial artery with a device called a percolator. His wife, Mary, worked nonstop in their chapel, putting makeup on victims and arranging their hair for their loved ones. At St. Mary of Czestochowa, a church and school, 29 white caskets sat before the altar. Roughly 150 victims of the Eastland disaster were buried here in the Bohemian National Cemetery. It was so busy that week in 1915, they had to open up a whole new section, Section 16, for all of the bodies. It's hard to fathom how busy it would be in the days following the disaster, with endless funeral processions, gravediggers working nonstop, and headstones being made. The work at the cemetery was unending. 52 gravediggers worked in 12-hour shifts. Stonecutters fought to keep up with the demand. The cemetery was crowded with mourners. Ted took me to the grave of the Sindler family, the largest entire family to perish in the disaster. 8 family members, George and Josephine Sindler, Josephine's sister, and the Sindlers' 5 children, were brought here on a wagon to Bohemian National Cemetery.
Can you imagine? They said there was 26 or 27 of these families that were just deleted. Just deleted. I mean, an entire section of the gene pool just vanishes in one accident. And suddenly, Law and Crime is saying that the Brooks trial will be starting at 9 a.m. instead of the usual 10:30 a.m. I mean, instead of the usual 8:30 a.m. So I guess that gives everybody an extra half hour. Yeah, I guess we can start a little bit early. I don't know. I'll change the start time to 11, but start a little bit early if we need to. And Tankrad, did you gift another 20 memberships? Yeah, 22 families were deleted. Yeah, I mean that's horrific. And I think I'm not sure if that was the old one or the new one, but I just see a thing that Tankrat gifted 20 memberships. If you gifted 20 more memberships, thank you again. If not, I think you should give 20 more memberships. Anyway, just saying. All right, so I'll reset the lawn cut clock, and that'll give us a little bit more time to relax here and talk about this and to do all that stuff. So let's get back at it.
So William Sherry and Emma Samick were 2 young individuals that were on board the Eastland. Both of them perished. They were fiancés. So you had 2 grieving families that had to deal with their passing, but they also recognized that they were engaged, they were planning to be married, and so the 2 families came together through the grieving process and decided that they should be buried together for eternity.
There are countless stories like this throughout the cemetery. This is the grave of the 3 Zestera sisters, Antony, Julie, and May. On the day of the excursion, the sisters were thrilled to go to the picnic with their best friends, the 3 Polivka sisters. The girls were open to meeting some handsome boys at the employee picnic, as the plan was to eventually be bridesmaids at each other's weddings. All 3 Zestera sisters died. All 3 Polivka sisters survived. The Polivka sisters were never bridesmaids at the Zestera sisters' weddings, but instead were pallbearers at their funerals. This is Chuck Michalek, a volunteer at Bohemian National Cemetery. Like Ted, he's an Eastland lifer and played a huge part in seeing the memorial to the Eastland installed here in Section 16. Chuck was able to get us access to the cemetery records and ledger of burials from 1915. Here in the ledger is little feller Willie Novotny, along with his parents and sister. Here are all the members of the poor Sindler family.
You see it starts with the Chicago River here, and then you just have more and more and more people. Chicago River, Chicago River. Turn the page. Chicago River, just all these people.
A lot of these names are very familiar. A lot of their stories are very familiar. That's a big part of what we're trying to do.
We even found a record Ted had never seen before. The red ink here acknowledges the mistake made in burying Emma Meyer in Emma Schroll's grave. Most of the names in the ledger were burials, but at least one was a cremation.
It just kind of spoke out to us. Oh, it mentions Eastland here, but it's Islandu, which is the Czech language. It's a young woman that was an office worker at Western Electric, and Blažena Rihakova is her name. And the inscription was written by her father, and it's a condemnation of the owners of the Eastland and says in the Czech language they were more concerned about profit than the lives of the passengers on board.
How many of these cases we have covered? Seriously, the vast majority of these maritime cases we have covered have dealt with greed. Greed, profit making, cutting corners, saving costs, skimping. Those are one of the primary causes of the accidents we've talked about doing this. It's when people start putting money ahead of everything else that the bad stuff starts to happen. And if you've been watching, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the other Maritime Monday streams we've done, go back and watch them and see how many of them deal and are based in people being more concerned about money than they are about human lives. That's an unfortunate reality. And that's what leads to dangers. That's what leads to modern cruise problems. That's what happens to modern cargo ship problems, modern oil tanker problems. A lot of them are just caused when you start worrying about doing something more for money than the people that are there. And just to update anyone that's here now, apparently the Brooks trial will be starting in 45 minutes at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, which would be minus 3 p.m. London.
My aunt, uncle, and cousins all died at once. That kind of group loss is devastating for a lifetime. I know. Well, Ireland, much hugs to you. Much hugs to you.
So 3 p.m. London. Yeah, so that gives us a little bit more time. We can slow down a little bit more and talk a little bit more about this and other things after. But yeah, it's coming up. I'll be dumping us automatically over into there. So just kind of mull about, fix yourself a cup of coffee or some breakfast or lunch or dinner wherever you're at, and just wait for the show to start. But let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this video up here.
And the father is heartbroken at the loss of his lovely daughter.
The corporation that didn't appear to put profit over lives was the victim's boss, Western Electric, who sprang into action with relief funds. It's one of the rare cases of a company just doing instead of needing to be begged. Immediately following the disaster, Western Electric offered $100,000 in relief funds and helped raise a total of about $500,000.
Tankrat.
They also covered funeral and burial costs for their employees and their loved ones, spending over
Tankrat just gifted 20 memberships, by the way. I was just kidding. You didn't, yeah, it wasn't. But hey, thank you to Tankrat for 20 more memberships. If you're one of the lucky recipients of the random Tankrat 20 memberships, give him a big thanks. He's going nuts here with the with the memberships. You're insane, but thank you. Yeah, Tankrat says now this is the second group. Okay, gotcha. Thank you so much for the second group of 20 memberships. Yes, Tankrat is going nuts. He did that last week and found out there's actually a cap on the number of super chat, not super chats. There's a cap on the number of memberships you can gift. So give him a big thanks if you got one of them. Let's wrap up the wrapping up of the wrapping up here.
75,000. This was crucial because all these funerals and burials and coffins and embalmings came at a cost. Not to downplay some of the non-stop work the funeral directors were doing, but some funeral homes were accused of gouging families, charging as much as 2 or even 5 times more than the accepted rate for
Oh,
funeral
rot in
services.
hell, you
Other
scalping
scam artists posed as representatives of Western Electric, getting the grief-stricken to sign fake relief fund receipts. Meanwhile, Coroner Peter Hoffman, his special jury, and the state's attorney Maclay Hoyne were still on a mission to figure out who was to blame for the Eastland.
This is where the lawyers come in.
Pointed all around. Hoffman's people seemed intent on placing blame on Captain Pedersen and Chief Engineer Joseph Erickson. Erickson, they surmised, was the man in charge of the ballast and balancing the ship. If the ship rolled, He was the person at fault. But Attorney Hoyne was not so convinced that the fault of the disaster lay in the hands of one or even a few men. He saw the owners of the boat and the government bureaucrats in charge of inspecting and approving the boat as the men responsible through a dangerous combination of greed and negligence. Many agreed with Hoyne's belief that the Eastland should not have been given the okay to carry more than 1,200 passengers.
Great.
Remember, it was carrying 2,500
Yeah,
passengers.
great. Twice as many as it should have
And
had.
that the ship was innately
Now, this is the important thing to note. This thing was rated, I think, for over 2,600 passengers, but it was such a crap design that listing and leaning and ballasting problems were standard. So they're saying you even though it was rated for more, and it was, if I remember correctly from the research I did, it was originally said to be able to hold like over 3,000 passengers, but they downgraded it to 26 something, and here they're saying it shouldn't have been more than 1,200.
unstable. According to a 1950 letter from the chief of the U.S. Coast Guard's Merchant Vessel Inspection Division, the reason for the Eastland disaster was instability and improper procedural control of that instability. Essentially, if the Eastland's stability had been properly inspected after all the changes her owners made to her over the years, more passenger amenities, more lifeboats, new concrete floors, perhaps the disaster could have been averted. Eventually, the federal grand jury indicted 8 men, including Captain Pedersen, the chief engineer Erickson, and the Eastland's owners.
Jeez, Tankrat. So generous. And Cynthia. Jeff was the king of grifters. Yep. Tankrat always donating to IUDs. Okay, David. Yeah, that's crazy to create two. Ah, Tankrat. Thank you. Appreciate you for the 10 gifted Vice 5 Bay membership. Jesus. Chad, Kernak, Brandes, Kara, Trish Jacks's mom, Jessica, Frenchie's mom, JD, Melody, and just me and my dog got the membership. Damn. Thank you, Tankrat. Really appreciate you. I don't know what's going on today. It's one of the best Saturdays ever, I guess. Wow. I had a great Friday and an awesome... I'm going to shut up and stop talking because I can't talk. Wow. Island, it's Hayden, it's the other Alan that needs your help. Not Walsh. The Australian one, not the Scottish one.
Things appeared to be on the road to justice. The trial dragged on for years and did very little to bring any sort of peace or closure to survivors and families. In the end, Chief Engineer Erickson, the one who burst into the engine room to prevent it from exploding, he was the only person convicted of criminal negligence. Posthumously, 20 years later in 1935. Adding insult to injury, the Eastland herself was towed out of the Chicago River, repaired, modified, and sold by the boat's owners to the US Navy, where she became a training ship. To be honest, I'm not as interested in how the Eastland happened, as much as I am shocked that we've been allowed to forget that it did happen.
So many people, tens of thousands of people over 100 years ago had their lives all intersect right here for a matter of hours and days. Their voices haven't been heard, their names, their faces are not known, their stories were all buried basically when they buried the dead.
A giant boat rolled over in the Chicago River and killed more people in an hour than any other event in the city's history. To understand how it could be so pushed aside, with even people born and raised in Chicago not always learning about it, it helps to think of the framework of iconic events. Sociologist Patricia.
Yeah, and this thing, what was going on at that point in time? That's the. Sometimes you can be a victim of history. If I remember right, Mother Teresa died while we were still mourning Princess Diana and kind of got lost in the shuffle. Uh, you can be a victim of just circumstances. Shane Souza, congratulations on being a clean and sober member for 2 months. So, chat, you have to allow free gifts in super chat settings. Tank Rat, we all thank you so very much. Yes, we do. Tank Rat is the man.
Patricia Levy defines an iconic event as an event that undergoes intense initial interpretive practices, but also
Rumor has it, legend has it, Subway sandwiches in the river. I guess we'll never know.
becomes mythic within a culture through its appropriation into other political or social discourses and its eventual use within commercial culture. As I said at the top, we all know the iconic boating disaster of the time period, the Titanic, which fits all the definitions of an iconic event. A hard truth is that part of the reason the Eastland never became mythic is because there was nobody mythic aboard. Titanic was the ship of dreams sailing across the ocean. The Eastland was no less the ship of dreams, but the dreams of the Eastland's passengers were maybe overall more humble than the Guggenheims and Astors that walked Titanic sticks. The Eastland's passengers were working class and immigrants. The picnic they were headed to spoke to the public need for rest after a grueling work week. Extremely relatable, but not extremely romantic. Furthermore, it needs to be said something had changed from 1912 in the Titanic to 3 years later in 1915. That something was World War I. News of the Eastland was dwarfed by news of World War I. The disaster, the trial, and the investigation still made front page news, but it wasn't the whole front page, it was alongside what was happening in the trenches. The time right after the disaster, when cultural myths are made, the Eastland never really got that chance to dominate the news cycle, create characters, heroes, and villains that rise up during iconic events. Perhaps the biggest hurdle to creating collective memory around the disaster is that many of the survivors refused to ever speak of the day again. If they did speak about the disaster, it was often cloaked in deep trauma. Reggie, the teenage swimmer who recovered 40 bodies, his grandson remembers the story he told of recovering the body of a mother from deep in the Eastland's hull, her arms still wrapped around her infant.
Yeah.
Reggie felt deep repercussions from that day his whole life.
They didn't talk about it. They didn't want to talk about it. There were a few for sure that did, but by and large, many of the families back then really kept it to themselves.
As for young Bobby Unstad, she was rescued from inside the hull and went on to live a full life. A life where she never lost her love of the water. Unlike some others who survived, Bobby was open to talking about the Eastland and what transpired that day. By contrast, her younger sister Solveig did not like discussing the event. Bobby found welcome listeners and chroniclers of her story in her granddaughters Barbara and Susan and Barbara's husband, Ted Wacholtz. So, Celine Dion is probably never going to make a smash hit about the Eastland. But Ted isn't going to give up. Chuck isn't going to give up. So many of the victims' descendants aren't going to give up. And now you also know what happened on the Eastland.
Oof.
Thank you to our patrons who single-handedly fund the work of making these documentaries. Patreon is a site that's set up for small, recurring monthly donations, and there's a link down below that makes it easy to sign up. This month, our limited edition fundraising item exclusive to patrons is a pin with the replica of the Coroner's Star, the award given by Coroner Hoffman to the heroes of the Eastland disaster. Alongside a donation from this channel, all sales of the pin will raise funds for the work of the Eastland Disaster Historical Society.
Oh, hello, Bush. Welcome.
Okay, so yeah, you've just watched this, and the story itself aside, the reason we're watching this again today is because you ask a mortician. Her name is Caitlin Darty, I believe her last name is. This video was given a terms of service violation by YouTube. YouTube saying that video had no educational value, no educational intent, and was just a glorifying. It was glorifying blood, and gore. If there's one thing that Ask a Mortician's channel is, it's educational. That is literally the sole point of her channel's existence, is to educate people about death, to educate people about historical incidents. It stuns me. And like I said, she doesn't know me. She'll never know me. She'll never have a clue that I'm doing this. But you know, it's just something that I think needed to be done to show some support. You know, that YouTube is broken in this way. And if you can get on Twitter, if you do use Twitter, her handle there is The Good Death. The Good Death is her Twitter.
Do you want my only other thought would be it needs some time to actually process and put me in the system? I don't know. So try it again in the next stream. I don't know. Island Dewot is trying to do the Cash App thing. I have the link in my channel description, but if it doesn't work, I say wait for a little bit. I'll try and figure out stuff on my end as well.
Twitter handle. Let YouTube know that they're doing her YouTube channel, Ask a Mortician, wrong by giving this thing a terms of service violation. That's the only reason I did this out of order. Next week, I will put this back. I will. We will go back to the other. All right, now this Law and Cuck are Law and Cucking it up. They've gone live. Let me clear through these, and then we'll dump over and we'll just go straight into the other one. The trial is now live. That 11 o'clock thing is apparently bullshit. So let's wrap this up real quick, and then we'll go back over to the trial. Damn it, I hate Law and Cuck. Drowlon, thank you so much for the super sticker. And music and fiction. To think that this is something that happened earlier than Nick Rekieta and Robert Gouveia, YouTube seriously needs to learn a lesson. It's just so automated, I think, that the human factor's ripped away. Corn Pop, why in the hell would a historical story be demonetized? I don't get it. Exactly. That's the deal. Why? Legal Vice, but you've covered the Wilhelm Gustloff yet? I haven't. If there's something you want me to look at, if there's a particular maritime case you want me to look at, mail me at thelegalvices@gmail.com. Provide some of the story and some links to preferably videos and secondarily news articles to sort of take care of that for me. Tank Rat, I found the same thing as a survivor of Kobar Towers. I met a few that didn't want to talk about it. Meanwhile, I would on occasion. I did not know that about you. Well, ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Apparently, the trial that wasn't going to start was bumped back, and now it's re-bumped back. So, yeah, there we go. Come back tomorrow. We're going to be doing more Alec Baldwin stuff. There's a brand new Alec Baldwin investigation tape that's coming up, as well as some statements from people that worked on the crew. Right now, I'm going to end this program, which is going to dump us immediately into the trial. So let me open that up here. Hang on real quick here so we can do this flawlessly. I'm going to start that up as we speak. Thank you all so much for joining me for this pre-show to to the trial. Right. I'm entering my own studio here. And now I'm going to dump this right now. You all take care. We'll see where if gods are willing, this is going to flow straight into the other broadcast that is set up. So let's give it a crack and see what happens. Take care, y'all. Enjoy your legal vices. See you in about 3 seconds at the trial.
Oh, ugh. Okay. So that was another episode of the let me. Ooh, hello. Hi. Wow. That was another episode of the good old Maritime Monday. Thank you all for being here. I stand behind his Walden Tancred. Oh, yeah. The gods were never willing. Nice. Alrighty. Well, here's the little face and body of the shark. I'll need to add the fins and tail and the eyeballs, I guess. It's slowly getting there. Slowly. And yeah, Eileen, congratulations. I'm so proud of you for modding. So proud of you. It is looking sharky. Yeah. Crocheting is so relaxing. Rosie Greer, NFL football player and minister, crocheted. Interesting. But hey, I'm slowly approaching the end of this thing. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, thank you for joining my humble little stream. This afternoon, I don't know if Flux still wants to do gaming together. I don't know. If not, it's all good. I can run errands. Oh, I'll also have to do shopping. Grocery shopping, because we didn't yesterday. Ended up just coming home. So, gotta do grocery shopping today, too. Late night reading will happen. Of Megan Fox's book. I'll read 2 more chapters. Last chapter, I got a little heated reading the last time. So, hopefully it'll be a calmer reading tonight. So, Sunday, I don't know. Sunday, we'll see what happens. Iris, thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for being here. I really, really appreciate it. On your way out, please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you have been subscribed, please double check that you are still subscribed, because YouTube can be asshole and unsubscribe you. So with that being said, I will dump you to Yarn Witch, because I felt it was appropriate since I was crocheting. She is playing Don't Starve. It is a fun little game. So, stay lovely. Stay beautiful. I love you guys. And I'll see you later. Goodbye. Oh, before I go, thank you. Thank you everyone for the super chats. And Ash and Tankrat, thank you for the gifted memberships. You guys were very, very generous today. Really, really, really appreciate you guys. And Hayden and Veteran Nation, thank you for the raids. Appreciate you. And now, seriously, goodbye. Love you guys.
Well, that's all for this stream, but it's been so sweet. Thanks for hanging with us. It's been a treat. We'll keep it warm, keep it real, take it slow. Catch you next time when the vibes are ready to flow. If you enjoyed the ride, give us a like, subscribe for the warmth. Come back whenever you like. Until then, take it easy. Don't rush, don't hurry. I'll be here waiting. No need to worry. Vice, baby, always by your side. Stay cozy, stay calm, let the good times ride. Peace for now, but we'll meet again. Take care, my friend. Until then.